Good afternoon, everyone. If you're interested in watching our penguins get some lunch, I'm about to enter the June Keys penguin habitat. This is going to be the second of 3 meals of the day for our Magellanic penguins. We currently have 20 on display and 3 chicks behind the scenes. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and offer these guys some herring and capelin. Those are the 2 types of fish that we offer our penguins. In their natural habitat, they would eat smaller schooling fish, squid, and sometimes krill. Good afternoon, everyone. I am currently feeding the penguins in our June Keys penguin habitat. We have 20 birds on exhibit and 1 sub-adult penguin who's hanging out right by the fish bucket right now. His name is Gats. He is going to be our first bird that's going to go through this catastrophic molt. Now, all of our birds are going to go through the catastrophic molt, but it goes from youngest to oldest, and Gats is the youngest on exhibit. Now, these guys go from eating about 4 to 5 herring during this molt to up to like 13 herring a day. That's what Gats has been eating. So their diet does increase severely during this molt because they have to replace all of their feathers. They have 75 per square inch, and they replace them once a year because their feathers are what keep them dry in the water. These animals spend about 75% of their lives in the water, so they have to make sure that their feathers are in tip-top shape. Penguins naturally go through a catastrophic molt where they replace all their feathers once a year, get it all over at once, but it can take up to 20 days. If you've been in our aviary with our rainbow lorikeets, those birds are not going to go through a catastrophic molt. That would be too detrimental to them. They don't know how to fast like the penguins do. They're just not built for it that way. Also, they wouldn't be able to fly. Penguins don't fly in the air, of course, but they do definitely fly in the water. Can reach speeds of up to 15 miles per hour. The bird I just tried to feed, his name is Robbie. Robbie likes to eat with his feet in the water. So sometimes he doesn't come all the way up to the bucket, and I'm okay with that. I go to him. He gets a nice meal brought to him right where he's sitting. But everybody else comes up to the bucket for the most part. Every now and then these guys get a special treat or a fish in the water. But we really do want to log all of the fish that they're eating. It's important. Now, if a bird doesn't eat at all for a day, that's kind of weird. But sometimes normal, they'll eat the next day. If they go 2 days without eating, that's usually a sign that something else is going on. Now, I work in the husbandry department, and I work with these birds 5 days a week, so I am a really good source of eyes and ears for the vet staff and the animals. They can't tell me what's going on, so I have to look at all of the clues that they give me, and usually there's something out of the ordinary or a couple of things that are different that help give us clues to see what's going on. But if you go downstairs, we have a Molina Animal Care Center. It's a state-of-the-art vet hospital that allows us to take a look at all of our animals when we need to. That goes from taking blood, listening to their heart, looking in their eyes, their mouths. Our penguins actually get yearly physicals. That comes up after their molt. So the molt is a pretty hard time on these birds since they have to regrow all of their feathers. But it doesn't look like Robbie's quite ready to bulk up for molt because he's declined that herring. I've tried to give him about 10 times. Magellanic penguins are native to Chile and Argentina and the Falkland Islands. But 4 of our birds, including Robbie, they were actually rescued in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Kind of strange, pretty far north. That's not where you usually find these guys. But we were able to rescue and rehabilitate them, but they were deemed unreleasable, meaning they couldn't go back to their natural habitat. So they needed a permanent home at a zoo or an aquarium. Just so happens we were getting ready to build a penguin habitat, so we decided to go with Magellanic penguins, especially because they're native to the Pacific Ocean. So, this is Ludwig here. He got 3 herring. Everybody has a little bit of a different technique on the way they like to take a fish from my hand. And believe it or not, they actually eat different from the different keepers that take care of them. For a while, Shim would only eat herring from me and capelin from everybody else. I would try to give him a capelin. He wouldn't eat it. But every now and then I'd offer him a capelin just to see if that was something that he wanted. All right, I'm going to see if Robbie wants to eat again. I'm finishing up the second of 3 feeds for our Magellanic penguins. This feed is usually a little bit more of a snack feed. I don't usually see all of the birds eating at this feed, but sometimes if they didn't eat at the first feed, this is the feed that they pick up their appetite on. And then the last feed, around 3:30 to 4, that's when we get all of the birds to eat again. They get offered restaurant quality sustainable seafood. And you're looking at Magellanic penguins and Robbie, who I'm going to try to feed one more. Well, I said one more time last time, but we're going to see if he wants any food. All right, looks like I figured out how Robbie wanted to be fed today. Our birds all eat a little bit different. So for some reason, he's learned that he doesn't have to come all the way up to the bucket. I'll get up and go to him. But I kind of have to fling the fish in a sideways way. If I just kind of offer it to him straight on, he looks at me like I'm crazy and drops it in the water. So if you're taking a look at the bird sitting right in front of me, this is our youngest bird on exhibit. He turned a year old in May. His name is Gats. He's a subadult or a juvenile. So it's almost the time of year where our birds are going to go through their yearly catastrophic molt. In fact, most of the birds are bulking up for that molt. If you were to take a look at Gats up close, instead of his flippers being really thin, they're really thick. They almost look like a mitt. The reason behind that is he's swelling up with blood because he is going to replace all of his feathers. So about 75 feathers per square inch on a penguin. The feather structure keeps them dry in the water. So it's kind of cool. They trap air in between their feathers and their skin. You can see some of those bubbles get released when they dive underneath the water. They're kind of floating around right now, so you might not get a chance to see that. But they would naturally bulk up, eat a bunch of food, go to land, and stop eating. They would fast until all of those feathers are replaced and they're watertight again. So it looks like our birds are done eating. I'm going to go ahead and hang out with our juvenile penguins behind the scenes. Those guys are eating live fish. If you want to get it, live fish, whole fish. We have offered our birds live fish before, but for the most part, we give them frozen restaurant quality food. The live food that we did offer them, we knew the source, we knew where it came from, we knew there weren't any bacteria or parasites in those fish, but that's the reasoning behind freezing the fish and giving them a vitamin. That was Patsy, and she just ate 4 herrings, so now all 20 birds on exhibit have gotten a chance to eat. I mentioned vitamins before I fed Patsy. Since the food is frozen and then thawed out, it does lose some of its nutrients, but we just give them a vitamin. So it's kind of easy. Since they swallow their food whole, we just stick the vitamin in the gill of the fish, and they swallow the fish, they can't taste the vitamin, and they get all the nutrients that they need. If you come back out here around 3:30 to 4, I will be offering our birds one more meal. That's usually the most popular feed for the birds because that's the last chance they get to eat before the next day. I do want to thank you guys for stopping by the aquarium today. We are a nonprofit institution, so your paid admission is going right back to these animals, whether it's to help feed them, help give them the health care they need, or help them thrive in their environment. So thank you guys so much for supporting us. Enjoy the rest of your day here, and if you want to see our penguins eat again, definitely come back out here around 3:30 to 4. If you want to see our chicks, take a look at explore.org. We have live cams throughout the aquarium, but we actually have 2 live cams on the penguins, one out here on Penguin Beach and one behind the scenes in our nursery. You can actually see what our birds are doing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is a live feed. And enjoy the rest of your day here.